Previously on Phillips FamBam.
All right, you guys, here at Big Lots, we're gonna go see what we can find. So the other thing I got was this little thing that I think is cute, and I'm not sure if I'm gonna put this like in the bathroom or as a centerpiece on the table. Okay,
Too expensive.
Shut up, man! Get him out of here!
All right, welcome to another, what do we call these? Saturday sit-downs. We used to have Sunday sit-downs, now we're doing it on Saturdays, but either way, it's a sit-down, and today we are gonna get real. We have been getting so many questions over the past 2 years that we have been on YouTube, and a lot of those questions have to do with the adoption. The adoption of Ashlynn and Braden with me. So I basically adopted Ashlynn and Braden. They are Tina's children from a previous marriage, and we go into detail on that in our first part 1 of our adoption story. So this one is Ashlynn's perspective on the whole adoption story, and we are going to be taking a bunch of questions from you guys, the FamBammers, to me and to Ashlynn on how we feel about this. All right, so we're gonna jump right into it, and Tina put out a bunch of questions on Instagram, and we're gonna start out with some questions to Ashlynn, because you know what? I don't even know if I know the answers to some of these questions that she's been asked. Are you ready?
Yeah.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay, only nice things.
Okay.
Okay, so the first question that we got is from Sandra.Lydia.A, and she asks, at what age was Ashlynn when Danny adopted her?
Ooh. What age?
I don't know.
So it was about 3 years ago. So,
Oh yeah.
So when I actually adopted you, it was 3 years ago when she was 11. 11 years old.
But when you first had her in your life, she was
1.5.
1.5 years old.
Yes.
So that's how long it took for the adoption to happen.
I was officially, legally, her dad, what, 11 years? No, 10 years. 10 years after I met Tina and the kids. Tina and Braden and Ash.
Okay, so the next question comes from PBianca7, and she said, how did it feel, Ashlynn, when Danny adopted you?
Well, it felt like a relief because we've been wanting to do this for so long, and just like this excitement.
Yeah, it was a big deal, and the judge like really made things like smooth and comfortable, you know. But the funny thing was, I remember the day we did it, we asked, we're like, okay, you guys want to go to lunch or something? You know, take the day off of school, and she said, no, we want to go back to school.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys wanted to go back.
I wanted to go back to school. I was like, oh my god.
I don't remember that.
Well, because the judge made a specific rule. What was the rule? Do you remember?
Yeah, so every time on that adoption day, eat ice cream.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we were gonna go for ice cream. We're like, oh, let's all go right now. And I think like you and
I don't remember
Braden
that.
were like, I think the only one who wanted to was like Ethan. Well, the younger ones were like, oh, cool, let's go. And you guys were, no, I want to go back to school.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, because it was real early in the morning. Like before, it was like one of the first. We were with one of the first cases that the judge took. It was like 7 in the morning. It was early.
It was early.
Yeah.
Next question comes from one Zoe Rose. She asks, I know she was little, but how did Ashlynn adapt to having Danny in her life? So you were what, 1.5?
Yeah.
So how did you feel about adapting to him?
I don't know. I don't really remember.
Well, because she was so young, like 1.5. Think about how many of us remember when we were 1.5. I mean, nobody.
Not me.
So like, it's literally, she was like my first, pretty much like baby girl.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, 1.5 years old. Braden was 5.
Mm-hmm.
And we're gonna be probably, if you guys want, we might do one with Braden to sit down coming up. So we'll get that whole perspective, because that was different, because he had a different relationship. He actually had somewhat of a relationship with his biological father, kind of. He has more memory.
Yeah.
Ashlynn,
I don't really remember. Like, no memory.
Ashlyn like doesn't have memory. And
So your furthest memory is really all you remember is dad being dad.
Do you remember calling me Danny?
I feel like didn't like me and Braden just write you notes that said Danny?
Yeah, and you used to call me Danny
Oh yeah.
because you heard Braden and Mom calling me Danny.
Oh.
And then when Ethan was born, you were about 3. And then that's when you started calling me Dad. Yeah. And I think for you, I don't think it was a big deal. I don't think you got it yet. But that's, yeah.
Next question comes from Ashley M. Valdez. She asks, how did you build a relationship and bond with Ash at the start of your relationship with Tina?
It was actually easy. I don't know. I mean, I guess when you have to change a kid's diaper, you suddenly get a bond. There's a connection, right? So, first diapers I have ever had to change was hers. So, and then like she was just always so active and so fun, and you know, we had gotten Braden into soccer, and then so we got Ashlynn into soccer, and I've always coached her from like such a small age. And I even remember, do you remember? We used to lay on the couch, and she would lay down and fall asleep on me. We have pictures of it, and with her sippy cup, you know, and like those are just memories. Like even like now, kind of sometimes I'll joke. I'll be like, "Oh, Ash, come lay with me with your sippy cup," you know.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, we've just always had kind of a close bond. And I would say one of the things, Ashlynn, ever since she was little, we would always go run errands together. Always.
Yep.
And so I just think we just became close with that to the point that we still do it now, where we'll go, even after the kids go down 8, 9 at night, we'll go do ice cream runs. She used to always go to Home Depot with me, like all the time. Anywhere we'll go, she'd be like, Dad, can I go with you? Like she always wanted to. And so we just started creating a bond there, and we would always talk and sing in the car, and it just...
We have the same taste in music.
We do have the
no
same
one else
taste in
likes
music.
my music except Dad.
She'll play a song, and I'll be like, oh, that's a good song.
Yeah, they would just start jamming and turning it up.
Take what comes, take what comes. Feel the wind in your hair. Feel the rain. We're walking the wire. I can't breathe for the first time. And I wonder if I ever cross your mind.
Yeah, so we do have similar tastes, and I don't know, maybe it's just because we've just kind of hung out in that way for so long.
Okay, next question comes from Amy Miles, and she asks, was it a long process to adopt Tina's kids?
Ooh, yeah, because I mean it went from when we first met. Okay, it went from where the adoption wasn't even really a consideration yet, because Ashlynn and Braden's biological father, he had visitation in a sense. So when we first met, they still would go see him, and so the adoption wasn't really like brought up yet, you know. And so it took a while. There was like stages of it, and then gradually he wasn't in their life as much, and then it got to the point where we were like, hey, we need to make this happen, and then it was like, no. So we're like, crud. And Ashlynn didn't really get it. I mean, do you remember talking to him at times?
On the phone, yeah.
On the phone, and to me it kind of bothered me because she was like, Braden, I knew he was 5. He would talk to his dad, his biological father, here and there, and kind of knew. But I knew Ashlynn didn't get it. Do you know what I mean? Like I knew Ashlynn didn't get it, so it almost bothered me more. Because I'm like, she's talking to a stranger, you know, and because they didn't talk often at all. So I'm like, my daughter's talking to a stranger, and he's pretending to be her dad. So it bothered me, but in the back of my head, I knew like, hey, this is how it is, and that's that. Braden, I knew because Braden like called him dad at the time. Braden called him dad. Braden had experiences that he even remembers with Tina when she was married to him. And so, but it was just kind of like, I don't know. There's all these different stages. And so it was a long process until finally when Braden, you guys might hear about that more later, it was when Braden was on the phone, and Braden actually asked him, "Hey, can Danny adopt us?" And that's when he finally said yes, and we were all like, "Wait, what the heck?"
Yeah, because
You know?
we were like recently praying about it. Because I feel like once me and Bryn got older, we just like wanted it even more. And so
Because I think your conversations became more and more awkward.
it did, yeah, just like what, like I don't even know him, and I'm talking to him, and he's saying like, "I love you" and stuff, and it's like,
It was a little different.
yeah. So I feel like the process took a while once we got older, but when it actually came the day,
Yeah. So then, as you guys know, our lawyer, like everything just kind of just went fast.
So it took like years to get to that point.
Yeah.
But once we were finally got the approval of their biological dad signing over, then things went fast.
Yeah.
Okay, next question comes from BG Petra, I believe. Does the biological father still have rights to see them, or did he have any say in the adoption?
He had total say in the adoption because he basically relinquished his rights, and that's what held it up first. Was he was like, "No, I'm not going to give up the rights." And then when Braden had asked, he was like, "Yeah, and okay, I'll do it." And so he gave up his rights. We like jumped on it. We're like, "What the heck?" So yeah, he did have a say in it. He actually basically gave the permission, and then we jumped on it, and now. I have, they're my kids, which has always been, I've always seen them that way, but just legally on paper. And they were able to officially get my last name, which was huge for us.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, maybe, did I already? Okay, next question. Alexis_Adriana98 asks, okay, does it feel like you're adopted when you are surrounded by your siblings?
no, I don't even think about it, because I was the second born, so like I was there when they were born, so to me it wasn't like really I don't consider me like adopted. Like,
And you're 2 years apart from Ethan.
Yeah.
I mean, you and Ethan are closer than you and Braden.
yeah, so I don't really like think it's weird or anything. It's just my normal siblings.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you too, like does it ever like in your head are you like, oh, they're my half brother and sister? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, not really.
No.
I just no. Yeah, I think it's just normal.
Yeah, that's awesome. But what about another question? I'm asking all these questions. Like, how was it for you to finally have the last name Phillips?
Good, because me and Brent were like the only ones with the other last name, like towards the whole family. So I'm just like, yeah, Phillips and my other last name. So I don't know, it just felt good to like, I feel like that brought me and Braden like more closer to the family with the last name Phillips. So.
And at church, I don't know, a lot of you know, at our church, a lot of us are referenced by our last name. And so it was kind of different, because when they're like, oh, Tina, Tina, I'm brother Phillips, Tina's sister Phillips, and then somebody would even say, oh, to Ashlynn, refer to her with her other last name, and it's just kind of like, oh,
Yeah.
It was
And
just
so
always that reminder that like the adoption wasn't finalized.
Especially from at like school, you would write it on your papers, and it's like, this doesn't feel right. And I like remember the first time writing Phillips, I'm just like, oh yeah, this is cool. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
Next question comes from Nikki Murra. Sorry. The question,
Chumrao?
Chumarau. Thank you. Nikki Chumarau. Do the younger kids know that you guys were adopted?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, they've been open with it, and I don't think it's any different because they were born and they had Braden and Ashlynn here, like any other siblings.
Yep.
So I think when they got old enough to a certain age, and maybe more at church, when they heard the different last names, or when they would write different last names, then maybe the questioning came up, or we would say, hey, this is why, and we kind of talked to them about it, and then they understood it. But other than that, I mean, we probably would have to ask them. Maybe we can have a sit down with them saying, how does it feel knowing it? I don't really know 100%. So
Next question comes from Katie.Faust, and she asks, how did Danny's family take to the kids?
So like how, I guess I'll answer that
Yeah.
and Ash can
Yeah.
too. But like, awesome. Like like so well that it even like impressed me. like they like were so open. They didn't even think twice about it. They were just treated them like they were my own. Even when Tina and I were dating, they just treated Ashlynn and Braden like they were my own. You know, because there was a period of time where it was just me, Tina, Ashlynn, and Braden. You know, Ethan is Tina and I's firstborn together, but there was a period of time where there was no Ethan, Elijah, and Emberlyn. It was just us, and my parents took them in as their own. My mom was like instantly grandma to them, and I think that's all you know her as.
Yeah. So I think I don't like totally like remember like I don't know. I just always remember her as like grandma. So yeah, it was good, but me and grandma, I remember I was like little sassy pants when I was little. So whenever, because grandma would always babysit us when you two went on dates, me and Braden, so I would always get in fights with her. And like whenever I got mad at her, I would yell and like stomp and say, "This is my house!"
Yes, and you gotta have my mom tell those stories because Ashlyn would be like, "This is my house."
And I don't even remember them, but when she tells them, I'm just like, oh my gosh. But we're good now. We're good now.
Yeah, they're totally good. Totally good. They can actually sit back and laugh about it. But honestly, like my siblings, you know, my sister, my brother took to them well. I mean, they were just
like, from day one. Like, it's almost kind of amazing because from day one it was like birthday gifts, Christmas gifts. Like, there was no second guessing of like, should we get them something? No, they're part of the family, and they always were made to feel that way. So as a mom, I was super grateful for that not only Danny was willing, but the grandparents and the aunts and uncles.
Yeah, and it wasn't like, oh, and as they got older, it wasn't like, oh, Ethan, Emberlyn, and Elijah get more gifts or anything. It was all just balanced out. They're all my kids. They all get equal. That was that.
They all call her grandma. They all call grandpa. Like, it's as if it was just how it's supposed to be.
Yeah, meant to be.
Okay, next question comes from Cassidy. She asks, was there ever any hesitation from Danny about adopting Ashlynn?
Oh, no. Not at all. I mean, she was like my daughter from day one. And so, no.
Not a single
not
hesitation.
Not a single hesitation at all.
Hashtag no regrets.
No regrets.
No regrets.
Hashtag right now, hashtag no regrets.
All right, so this question comes from one of our loyal FamBammers, Charles, and he asked, would you ever want to see your bio dad?
No. I don't know. I just never had a relationship with him. I'm just like, there's no need to. I already got him.
Oh, don't make me cry.
Don't make me.
Oh, Danny might cry, and he is.
No, but and at the same time, like I know that's a possibility for either one of them.
If we
when they get older.
Even Braden right now because he's 18.
Yeah, I mean, I've always known that. Like, that's a possibility, and even me being like their adopted dad, like legally and all that, I would never. I mean, I would never hold them back. You know, that's something that's up to them. With Ashlynn, like she said, it would almost be like weird.
Yeah, for me, it's just never been like a thought to like ever have a relationship with him again, I guess. So
she hasn't had. She could probably count the communication she's had with him on both hands. Like, how many times have you spoken with him?
Maybe like 3 times.
That she even remembers.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, if she wanted to and she's old, that's totally up to her. She might be married and have kids and one day be like, hey, I want to, or whatever, and that's up to her. But I don't know. Who knows? Maybe she'll have questions later and be like, where were you? Like, why did I never hear from you? Why was there no effort? Why was this and that? You know, Tina and I have never been anyone. We've never been like, or I've especially never been like. Even when he did have the rights, been like, you can't talk to him. Da, da, da. No, I was like, oh, here's the phone, you know? And there was even times on Father's Day, then, in the early stages, I'd be like, oh, give him a call. just out of respect. But for her, she's never had that communication at all. Even when she did, it was like, I remember seeing her, I would be like, or even listening to her talk, and it was just kind of like, okay.
Just like
it was like
limited
nothing.
all
Yeah.
this. Yeah.
And it got to the point where she outgrew it, because in his eyes, she was still like 5, but she was like 10, you know? And then she's like, okay, you're talking to me like I'm still a baby. You know, that's how it was. And so,
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't hold it against them, though, to be honest. If they grew up as adults and had wanted to, that's something that I wouldn't feel right about holding them back from, because it's something that I can't 100% relate to. So I wouldn't know the questions that go on. So I would just want them to know that I love them, and I'm get emotional. That I live for them, but I wouldn't hold it against them.
Yeah.
Even Braden.
So I'm gonna ask a question, and this is gonna be for Danny, and then Ashlyn can answer it vice versa. How's that sound?
Sounds good.
Okay.
If I can talk.
I know. Danny's emotional. So my question for Danny is, what's the best thing about being Ashlyn's dad?
There's so many. I mean, she's basically like my first baby girl. Like I know Amberlyn is like the baby girl, but Ashlyn's always got that first baby girl. And so we've had a lot of like first father-daughter firsts together, whether it's coaching soccer, like, I mean, I've coached her soccer for
Very long time.
very long time. And I feel we do have like a special relationship, because we did spend all those little, I'm telling you, those little trips to the Home Depot and the stores, I mean, they add up with your kids over the years, and to the point where we have a pretty strong relationship, where we kind of get each other. We have a way of, there's a certain communication we have and trust. And so, yeah, I mean, there's just so many awesome things. She's so talented, and she's extremely caring. And we've always said, just growing up, that she was just like an old soul within her body. And like, she was like, there was just something about her. She was just so much more receptive to the things around her than kids her age. And I just think it's special to see, especially as she's getting older.
Your favorite thing about having dad for a dad?
Oh, definitely the running errands together, because we've done that since like
Day one.
yeah,
Forever.
Yeah, like I even like there's been crazy experiences like the robbery at Lowe's.
Yeah.
We were there.
we were
In
at Lowe's, and
California.
there was a robbery. We were at Lowe's together. I don't know how old you were, probably like 6 or 7.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah.
And then like dropping, like even going to like down the, like going to like the liquor stores. Like I remember dropping my Gatorade on the floor and it spilling everywhere.
Oh yeah.
When I was little too.
Yeah, like little things. Like even if we go as a family, she'd always want to come out with me.
Yeah.
Like if we stopped at a store as a family with everyone in the car, and I would run out to go get something. She would be like, "Oh, I'm coming with you."
Yeah.
And so and then just singing in the car. Sometimes we go crazy singing in the car.
Yeah. And probably just like able to go to him for things, and just like a hard worker that I can count on.
All right, so there you have it. Hope we answered your questions. If you have any more, leave them in the comments down below. We will go through them, whether it's for me or for Ashlyn. We'll go through the comments, and yeah, I mean, if you guys, we hope to have another one coming up later with Braden, to get Braden's take on it, because I personally feel that it's going to be somewhat of a similar yet different experience. Because number one, he's a boy. Number two, he was older, and so just different experience, different take on it. And so if you guys are interested in seeing that, comment down below and let us know. And then maybe even we'll have one where Tina kind of shares her feelings about it as well. I mean, we do in part 1 where we did the adoption story, we kind of shared experiences, shared feelings our feelings about it, or kind of just told what happened. But maybe we could do a sit down with Tina and get her in-depth feelings about it. Comment down below if you would like that as well. That's it, we're done?
Yep.
Yes. They got a little too more emotional than I would have planned for. And so
You know what though? Ashlyn was really excited to do this video.
yeah, sometimes we do sit downs, we're like, oh, maybe they're not gonna want to, or da 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 da. And I was like, oh, you know, have Ashlyn, see if Ashlyn will do it. And then and then Tina was like, oh, she's ready. I'm like, okay.
Totally on board.
So that was really cool.
Special
Thanks,
time
Dad.
in
Thanks, Dad.
everyone's lives, I think. So
Yeah, and so thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the next one. You guys don't miss our live tomorrow, 4 p.m. We're gonna go 4 p.m. for the live, and who knows, maybe there'll be a giveaway. I don't know. So don't forget to subscribe, like this video, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. And don't forget, choose your day.